We're back in the shack. And Joey wants in. It's already off to a good start. People have told me this is my best angle, so I guess I'll stay here. Joey, show your face to the people. Welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up in the next week. Now I have proof that I can move my arm this way for once and not get the comments. Yeah, we're going to look at everything. And we're going to do the giveaway for How to Save a World as well. And if you don't win, well, then you have no excuse not to back. But I'll talk more about that when we get to the How to Save a World section and when we get to it at the end. But seriously, it's already the pick for me because I'm organizing a group buy. So if you're in Toronto or close to it, you can save on shipping, which win-win. I'm personally offended it hasn't broken $1 million. Like, it's really good. Does my opinion mean nothing to you people? Anyway, let's get into the week, and we're going to start off. But before we begin, I want to bring things down low. I want to dim the lights so we can thank our newest patron, Colin. Thank you so much for jumping on board, supporting the channel, buddy. The great Colonel Mustard. That's very sweet of you to be a patron. But I do not accept. I don't accept, and I'm going to spend that money on pizza. And god damn it, you're going to like it. No, shout out and thanks to all my patrons, everybody who supports the channel, does one-time donations, supports for as long as they can. I know the nature of Patreon is that these things sort of ebb and flow and people donate when they can, and when they can't, that's completely fine. Like, I'm just super, super grateful if you have ever donated in the past or in the future. It's incredible. It really, really is incredible. Like, money is the only tangible thing that I ever care about. So I just appreciate No, it's just like, it's an incredible, generous thing. And like, some of you have been on board since the very beginning. And like, I really recognize that, like, you don't have to do this at all. You really don't. And the fact that people keep donating and keep sticking around or have donated like one-time donations or anything at whatever level you have ever donated, like, it's wild. It's really wild. And I am just constantly in awe and like so appreciative. Really, truly, truly. I like to start out every episode doing this. And I definitely didn't forget. And the sun will go down at some point in the episode. Of course not. But in my defense, Joey's very cute, okay? Come on. He's the real patron, Joey. But yeah, thank you again. Thanks everybody. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you all. And like, shout out to those of you who have canceled as well, who've canceled the Patreon membership. And there's like, Patreon does a little exit survey and people are like, oh, my financial situation changed, or like, I supported to the amount that I wanted to support. And I'm like, I am in awe and so grateful that you stuck around longer than my parents, or as long as you can. Like, I just want to, it's always a touchy thing, right? I'm very mindful of people spending money, and I'm also very mindful of people not spending outside their means. And so in any case, like, if you have the capacity to donate and it doesn't hit you financially, that's awesome. It's super helpful, super appreciated. And if you feel like it's hitting you financially, that's also fine. Like, love you being here. Thanks for being part of this community, and thanks everybody for donating. Now let's get back to it. We're going to start off with this, Guns of the Old West. It's finishing up on GameFound. And that's going to be finishing up tomorrow, Tuesday. So let's check this one out. It's just crossed its funding goal. It had a large funding goal. Wow, £50,000, and it has just crossed that. So I'm excited. It seems like a very realistic funding goal, and we're going to see what it's all about. Okay, this is something that claims to be a very big cinematic gameplay experience, and they're saying everything is brand new. Everything. Do you know that your guns have range? No board game has ever had that before. There's no such thing as range in any other game other than this, but here, that will immerse you even further. So it feels a little overblown. You've never had a heist on a train before. Colt Express would like a word. Or that other really pulpy one that was on a train. That one too. They're not on the guest list because I forgot what their name was, but you know, you remember. You're smarter than me. In the heart of the American frontier, tales of heroes and villains intertwine amidst dusty trails and rugged landscapes. Legends are born as outlaws prowl the streets and lawmen stay vigilant. What I was interested potentially about, that they said in the video, is that you can start it as the law or you can start it as an outlaw, which I just understood the distinction between those two things now. But I think that would be pretty exciting if you could choose and you did have two different campaigns. Essentially, you get two campaigns for one, right? You essentially it would be like a good mission, bad mission style. But I think that would be pretty neat if that is actually something. Yeah, here you have the outlaw characters, and here you have the law characters. There's a new villainess in the Old West. It's me. Can you not tell by this silhouette? Come on, it's me. I don't think this is going to tell me anything about the game, though. I know you roll dice to resolve combats. I know that we can save Bandit 2 weeks in a row. Oh, here we go. Video reviews, rulebook link, gameplay mechanics, and more. Okay, let's check out the rules to this 90s video game come to life. 100 campaign packs. Purpose of the game: outwit and outplay, well, you're speaking my language, your opponents in a quest for fame, fortune, and survival. I like this potential campaign, I think, where you can outmaneuver rival factions, lead your faction to victory. This is like the 7th brief explanation of gameplay. Let's see if this one makes any sense. Okay, so there's this pouch bag where any token pickups required to play the current mission will be placed in there, so any sort of search actions you gotta just dig around and pull from. There'll be random events, there's a campaign booklet, 14 miniatures. There's some terrain stipulations that you have to worry about, what you can cross through, what will give you or cost an additional movement. 1 to 8 players, wow. Feels like it should just be 2. Oh, here we go, gameplay configurations. 1v1, use all players. 2v2, all player characters are active. 3v3, players individually control 1 multi-miniature character. 4v4, all characters and cards are you just control 1. Yeah, it feels like a 1v1 game. It's like how Zombicide's not a 6-player game, right? Completely just boring. Game is played over a series of consecutive turns and ends when all campaign mission conditions are met or all players of one team are captured or killed, aka not an 8-player game, it's 1v1. Player 1 takes their turn, followed by 2, 3, 4 of the same team. Okay. Action phase, you have 3 actions to utilize, offer a chance to influence the game's outcome. Oh, that's what actions do. These actions are divided into categories based on their frequency of occurrence. So you have limited occurrence, where you can do 2 times with your 3 actions, then you have specific occurrence, which are reserved for the 3rd and final action. Enter a defensive stance, reload. Okay, so it's the least exciting action. Just heal is what it is. Attack or capture is what you can do twice, otherwise you just draw cards and stuff. All right. So it feels kind of skirmishy to me. Seems like there's a pretty decent amount of randomness in terms of the tokens that are being drawn, but you have this sort of skirmishy area, especially when they talk about line of sight and they talk about the combat, and especially when you either have to do the thing, which is going to be capture the flag or do something, or kill everybody else of the opposing team. How much are you? No, that's not what I want. This is the lowest price in 30 days. Oh, thank goodness. How much is the cheapest one? Ugh. 79 pounds, 141 Canadian core box Law versus Outlaws and the stretch goals. And then shipping, it's going to be like, what, 180 for me? I imagine it'll be like 30 to Canada. Oh, there it is, except it's going to refresh. Yeah, 24 to 39 pounds to Canada. Yikes. So even close to like 200 for me. That's expensive. I mean, I'm happy that it's funded. It seems like it's found the people who are going to fund it. 290 backers. It's raising a lot of money. I don't, nothing about it really draws me in. I like the idea of the Western genre. I like that world, and I definitely think the campaign paths is interesting. It's an interesting promise. I don't see it as being, it's one that's tough to evaluate just based upon this promise, right? So it's one that I think I would wait for more reviews or people to actually play through it. No content creator will play through this if it's like 100 campaign paths. You won't get to it. But like other people will and fans will, and you can find that out for them. So if you're interested in that, that finishes tomorrow, Tuesday the 11th at 12 p.m. That's noon. Moving along. I mean, this is just the briefest. This is Summer Tour of the Game. It doesn't really have anything, but I did want to point out that they're offering a 100% money-back guarantee if they don't make their goal of 3,600, which is like a really good statement to make until you realize, oh, that's Kickstarter. The Kickstarter's offering that. Kickstarter's not going to charge it if it doesn't reach the pledge. But look at that, it's $2 over the goal. So whatever you pay, you're gonna have to pay. And this is just, you know, you're in a van, you roll a dice, you move that many spaces. Doesn't seem that exciting for me, but I just thought that was a funny thing, so that's why it's on the docket. We're going to move along to something that is exciting to me. We've got Rebirth, the limited edition, a brand new tile-laying game from Reiner Knizia, set in a lush and hopeful future. Because there weren't enough tile-laying games from Reiner Knizia, we needed one more, and this one is doing really well, so obviously people are resonating with the feel of it. It's by the same people who produced Hamlet. Yes, that Hamlet. William Shakespeare's Hamlet. They're into board games now. It's wild. So let's check this out and see if it's good. Well, this looks like you're going to throw a bunch of tiles down and have a good time. But you're doing it, this time, in a really nicely produced way. A new tile-laying game from Reiner Knizia set in a lush and hopeful future. So a dystopian future. A future that's not ours. Where we will not have lush nor hope in a few years' time. Calling it! What is Rebirth? Each turn, players draw a tile from their supply and place it strategically on the board. These tiles represent your clan's contribution to the rebuilding the land. Rebirth rewards strategic foresight and clever tactical play, blah, blah, blah. What I am stoked about is that I also saw that if you get a group of 6, you buy 5, you get a 6th one free, and that's really good. If you're doing a group buy, there's one in the Toronto group buy, Southern Ontario group buy, BGG Link, that I am a part of. I am a part of frequent all the time if I'm backing something, because you save on shipping if you just get it shipped together. There's not that much of a discount, but I guess that you can get some Kickstarter exclusives. These interest me. Tile-laying games that come with bags, like, I think that's a nice upgrade for sure, if you are getting it, and if the gameplay is even interesting. So let's see how to play. Scotland, draw 1 tile. This is your contribution to the restoration this turn. Choose where to build. Energy farms and food farms can be placed on their matching terrain or empty spaces. Okay, so every terrain has their own specific spot. Settlement tiles can be placed on settlement areas, so they can't be placed on open ones. Right? When a settlement area is complete, the player with the most houses symbols shows and scores the more points. So you put 4 versus a 3, you'll score more points. 5 and 3. Control the castles! Alright. Place the most tiles surrounding a castle to control it. Just tiles in general. Score 5 points for each castle! Great. It seems very exciting. Have I told you about the cathedrals? No, you haven't. Place tiles next to a cathedral! Oh, that seems very similar to castles. Yeah, but you visit it. You don't control the cathedrals. It's the cathedrals that control you. Well, that's a bit true. They'll work your way into your bones and make you tithe and spend your days toiling away to please the gods. I guess that's true. But you gain a community mission. Only when you go to the cathedrals? I guess so. It's an endgame goal. I guess just for you. That's what cathedrals do. What do the food do? I forgot again. The larger your cluster, the more points you score. Okay, that's it. Connected to each other. But also being placed next to castles and cathedrals. That's the trick, isn't it? But hoidly-toidly-toy, each game of Rebirth also includes an alternate map featuring new mechanics from Ireland instead of cathedrals. No, we don't deal with cathedrals in Ireland. We deal with round towers. That's it. Each tower is randomly granted an ability. I think I'm back to Scottish there, lad. Public mission cards and random objectives are placed in the public display. Unique map features. More open farm areas. Okay, so it's just a different board. I do like that. But it's just going to be double-sided map. Did I tell you map 1 was in Scotland? Yeah, I think we got that part. Sorry, wee lass. From Ireland. Maybe it's Northern Ireland, isn't it? It's a harder life up here. And I do like that this stuff, I think, is being made with Rewood. Yeah, Rewood is such a cool thing. Cool, this looks good. I mean, Reiner Knizia is very good at designing the same game over and over with tweaks that make it feel like a different game. He really is. $68 Canadian. Yeah, there's the group pledge. Buy 5, get 1 free. That's what I would want to jump in on. Shipping, free pickup at Essen. A group pledge is $35, so you can essentially just get it for the price. $68 or $65 for another tile layer. Yeah, you'll probably pay that at stores. Who knows, right? It doesn't say that there's too much off MSRP. For me, it's like €20, but it might be worth it if you consider the bags and the additional tile thickness. I don't know what the retail pledge is going to really look like. But yeah, where's the rulebook? Is there a rulebook? I want a rulebook. I mean, I think maybe I scrolled by it. Maybe I didn't. I think it has explained literally all the rules, though. Like, I think those are all the rules. Place a tile. That's it. That's what a lot of Knizia games do. You draw one tile, you choose where to build. That's it. When all players have used their tiles, the game ends and final scoring starts. Like, I don't think there are any more rules. I think what you see is what you get. And I think with Knizia, it's very simple, generally, and it just depends on if this will be fun. I believe in Knizia that the board will be fun. I think the balances will be interesting, and I think the Ireland will be a lot more interesting. I like that it's double-sided. Yeah, this is a very positive one, I think. Shipping is expensive. Like, if you're getting it on your own, €20, it's almost like $100, which I don't know if I would do that for just like another Knizia game. Yeah, with €20, you get to $96 Canadian, and I know what I would much rather spend $96 Canadian on, and that's coming up next. So comparatively, I think How to Save a World is much better, and should have the same amount of funding. But I do like Rhino Knizia. I do like tile laying games, and this does look fun. I just don't know if I'm going to spend $100 on it, because it's not bringing anything to me that I couldn't get from Tigris and Euphrates, you know? But I think the design looks quite nice. I think comparatively, well, you know, who knows? This might be a pick for you, but I know what the pick for you is actually going to be, and it's the same as the pick for me. I think you should cancel your pledge and go get How to Save a World. But this does actually quite look nice. With the tile laying looks solid, and I like Reiner Knizia more and more the more of his games that I play. Maybe one day I'll play all 700 of them. Just kidding, no one will. Not even Reiner Knizia. But if you're interested in that, that finishes Wednesday, June 12th at 11 a.m. Moving along to this one, DVG Mustang Leader, the the WW2. That's no one's ever said World War II in that way. The World War II air war over Europe solitaire game. Now, I'm not a solo gamer, so I'm just going to look at this briefly, but I know there are a lot of solo gamers who watch the channel, so because I love you so much, and I want you to have a fun little day flying your planes around, we're going to take a little look at this. And then I got to move because people want to eat in here for dinner. So, but let's do this one, and then we'll pause. Almost everything they said in that video, I did not understand. But it's kind of a beat your own score style of game. You're hitting a certain number of points depending on how well you do in the flight, based on Zero Leader and Stuka Leader. So, if you know those, you're golden. I skipped that day in school. Gameplay. You work through a series of campaigns with your own unique blend of targets and goals. Well, there you go. You can fly even more aircraft with expansions. Wow, what informative gameplay. Was there no... Well, there might not even be a rulebook. I bet there isn't, but I bet it doesn't matter. $90? I thought this was a small box game. This looks like a small box game. What you've given... I guess because there's a campaign? There's cubes? I don't get it. Not a hardcore simulation. We're bound to balance detail with fun. I mean, well, this is a bust. I was really excited to maybe introduce all my solo gamers to the wild world of WW2 European Theater Solitaire games, but without a rulebook, I don't know what the heck is going on, or how mechanics even work, or how you can push your luck, or anything at all. So somebody is really excited about it. You do all that work and drop it in the comments, and let me know why people should back it. June 12th at 4 p.m. We're going to move along. We're going to take a break for dinner, and then we're going to talk about How to Save a World. You see, I have pledged. I believe in this game. Kickstarter doesn't want me to show you. I have a group buy going. If you are in Toronto or the surrounding area, you can jump on board this group buy and make sure that you pay me after the campaign so that my credit card is not charged, because we're almost at $1,000, which is cool. 1%! 1% is me! Yeah, we're going to talk about this. I'll tell you how it plays, but like I am offended that more people have not backed this. Like, I can't express to you how good this game actually is. I can see this game making its way into my... For sure, it's in my top 100. Like, that's a no-brainer. Into my top 50, maybe? I could see it getting there. This is the best Burnt Island game that they've produced. Maybe Endeavor might edge it out, but I've only played Endeavor once, Endeavor Deep Sea, so I'm not quite sure. I need to play that a bunch more, but like Endeavor was really good. Endeavor made my top 10 plays of last year, like my top 10 games that I played last year, just in general, new ones to me, and this is absolutely on par with that. This is a game that I have been super excited about since I played it in the prototyping stage, because the designer is my neighbor, not my friend, but my neighbor, Yuval. I've made that distinction very clear so I can remain objective and say horrible things about this. So I have a big video on it, but I will tell you how it plays. How to Save a World is a worker placement hand management game. Started out as a deck builder. It is no longer. Oh yeah, I forgot about the asymmetry. I haven't played these yet. Oh, I can't wait. That's so exciting. Okay, we're no stretch goals. Yeah, we get it. Get to it. You'd think if I really had my hand in this pie, you'd think the rulebook would be at the top of the page. It is certainly not. It is following standard Kickstarter format. Well, except the top of the page is just the big old blank space of nothingness to really get people going. How to play the basics, great. So here's the basic. Where's the rulebook? Come on. Thank you. Where's the setup page? Come on. All right. Here's the board. Here's the Earth. Dang, that is a nice Earth. Well, no, it's called Ilaria. There's an asteroid, a big old asteroid, headed towards the board, headed towards the Earth, and it's going to destroy the planet. And you, as a scientist, have decided to stop that from happening. Maybe. Or maybe you're like, yeah, there's no stopping it. Let's just get all the creatures off that planet. So you can invest in this laser to shoot down the asteroid. You can invest in this shield to deflect the asteroid from the Earth, which is not Earth, but it's basically Earth. Or you can evacuate the Earth and move all the cute little creatures away into safety. Essentially, there's 3 tracks. This is one of my favorite parts about the game because it's a variable end game scoring depending upon what happens if the laser destroys it or if the evac happens. Where you are on the tracks is worth more points. Essentially, if the laser shoots it down and you're at top of the laser track, you get like 18 points. An average score is like, I don't know, 60. So pretty good, a third of your points. If an evac happens and you're at the bottom of the evac track but you're at the top of the laser track, well then you only get like 8 points, right? So even if you're at the top of the 2 tracks that don't succeed in the laser in working to stop the asteroid, you don't get as many points as if you back the correct horse, which is very exciting. Or at least it's exciting to me. Every time somebody moves up on these tracks, you're going to take one of these cubes of the corresponding color and drop it in a bag. Now, in this bag, there are black cubes, kind of like Clank-esque, and there are these other cubes that you're adding. And at the end of each round, you're going to pull out a certain number of cubes. These cubes escalate as the asteroid gets closer and closer. And if you pull out black cubes, the asteroid advances even further. If you pull out other colored cubes, they get put onto this progress board right here. And if one of these fills up, then the end of the game is triggered as well. So that's the main thing. That's kind of your main goal of what you're doing on the board. However, all of this requires resources and requires you to do different things. Well, that's a new graphic. Oh, nice. They've incorporated that first player. Oh, I'm so excited. That first player change. This has been a really cool game for me to watch because being so close proximately, not in friendship with the designer, I've gotten to see the little developments as I stare in his window. Again, because our houses are close. I can stare in his window in the back of his house while he's working on this game, and I can see the little tweaks that are being made. But yeah, you can also go here to get resources, and this is where the worker placement aspect comes in because you have 2 different planets. Oh, I thought they were going to say everything. How to take your turn, how to do things, how to end a round, because it's called How to Save a World. So another cool part is that if your workers are over here, they can only do those actions. If your workers are on the moon, they can do those actions. And then if, depending on what spot they go on, they swap places. And so there's a little bit of pre-planning elements that happens. And then also you have these action cards. Action cards give you additional abilities for a cost. Boost cards give you additional stuff when you take a specific action. So they're only triggered if you do that thing. And endgame scorings do nothing, but they also all have these tags on them. So they're multi-use cards in that you can go to a spot that requires you to spend moon tags, for example, and you could get rid of all 3 of these cards to accelerate that spot by 4. So one of the actions, like shooting up the laser, you can move it once, or you can spend moon tags to move it up a number of times. And that way you can kind of jump ahead of other people, which I think is pretty neat. There's everything about this game is fun. Like, really is. Everything is satisfying, increasing the income that you get each round, or abandoning that entirely and just focusing on a planet Earth tag strategy that I broke and now made it cost 2 instead of 1. You're welcome, that's my fault. If you want to break the game, play it with 1. But yeah, everything about this game is like really fun. I love that I can play, I've played this a bunch of times. I've played this more times than probably any other prototype I've ever covered on the channel. And I've played it more times than I needed to feel like I actually needed to needed that experience to do a review. I could have done it a bunch ago. This is why I was planning on backing this game. I am backing this game, and I would back this game having played it, even if I didn't know the designer. And I didn't have to back this game, but I wanted to spend my own money on it so that you would know that I was serious. Often as a reviewer, you can get a copy of a game for doing the review for them. So I did a preview for them, and they said, hey, thanks so much for like doing that preview. We'll send you a copy of the game. And I said, no, don't you dare. I'm backing this. I think it is important for people to see that I am already backed. I've selected this deluxe edition at the 99 Canadian dollars. I would much rather spend $99 on this plus $7 in shipping when you're doing a group buy, which I am doing, than 96 on Rebirth and 96 on the cheap end, right? Absolutely would much rather do this. I also love that they're using Trayforge because I think I hate game trays. I think I do. I don't think I've met a game tray insert that I've liked yet, or that I've like really been in awe with. And so it's nice to see, you know, a different thing getting a chance. This is a game that should give you Dune Imperium vibes with the different tracks and moving up. I think it would be closer to Dune Imperium than Lost Ruins of Arnak, because Lost Ruins feels just so completely different. And here the worker placement actions are really meaningful. I really love how the tags interact and how you can use them on this board to manipulate things. I love that there's always going to be some randomness to the locations. There's going to be different spots on the moon that are all really fun and good. Everything feels fun to do. And I think both are good value, honestly. So it's $51 US for the base game, or it's $73 for the deluxe edition. And in that deluxe edition, you get an upgraded asteroid marker. I don't really care about that. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a bit more impressive, but it's just going to be like a little bit raised. The asteroid is fun as it is, but you're going to get recessed player mats, which are great. Upgraded metal start badge, who cares? Upgraded resource markers, yeah, I like that. Screen printed is great. And then more specifically, the Tech Lab extension with the asymmetry is going to be great. And the insert feels fun. You know, getting unique landers also fun, but really it's the Tech Lab mini expansion that I think is why the majority, like every single person other than 6 people, like I've never seen so few people do a standard pledge, but I think the standard pledge is actually really good. Like I don't think these cosmetic stuff really matter that much, although I do like the recessed player mats and the screen printing and the extensions and the insert. So that's 4 things that I like. Translucent cubes, I don't care. And I don't know if anybody's getting any of these whatsoever. But yeah, shipping. What's shipping? To the US, one game is $12 and each extra game is $5, right? To Canada, one shipping is $18 or $5 for an additional copy. So 24 and 7, that's why I've seen 24 and 7. Again, if you are in Toronto area, I'm doing a group buy. Hey, that's me. And I honestly am just like, I'm so friggin' blown away that this isn't the best Burnt Island campaign that they've run. Like, I am flabbergasted by this. If you have played a Burnt Island game in the past, like, you know the quality of them. Like, I have a review of Fall of the Mountain King coming out at some point in time when things stop breaking over $1 million. I have 5 reasons you shouldn't back. But like, I played Hall of the Mountain King, Fall of the Mountain King, Endeavor. What else has Burnt Island done? Let's see. 8 created. Power Plasma, that was KDVG. Endeavor Deep Sea was great. Never played In Too Deep. Oh, and then they had Endeavor Age of Sail, Hall of the Mountain King, and then Fall of the Mountain King. This is way better than Hall of the Mountain King and Fall of the Mountain King. It really is. It just like it knocks them out of the park. And maybe it's because it's more my jam. Like I like deck building or pool building, and that's essentially what you're doing. It's pool building. You're getting cards into your hand. You get to play them all each turn, and then you get to pick them up again. And so there's a really nice escalating effect that happens of you developing more and more actions that you get access to as your engine really chains and builds together. But I am like blown away in a board game community where people love to throw money down that this actually feels decently priced for a deluxe edition, 73 US. It's a really good game. It plays in 80 minutes. It could be, I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh yeah, my game was turned down because like Euros that play in that 80-minute range don't do that well anymore. I'm like, maybe it's that. Maybe it's because it doesn't have a bunch of minis in it, which is what you need on Kickstarter now. But I think Rebirth shows that you can have an abstract style game and people can just really still eat it up for around the same price, right? The limited edition after shipping, because you always have to factor shipping in. So for me, if I get one of these on its own, it's 96 euro. I mean, it's $96 Canadian. If I get How to Save a World, well, on its own, I suppose it's 120. So there is a difference. And I also will admit that like 120 feels steep, but I don't have to get it for 120. I could get it for like 77, and you don't really pay tax on Kickstarter. You generally don't. 77 being at a group buy, whatever. Anyway, I believe so much in this game that it will be a good experience. And that is a tough thing for me to say, right? Like, especially because I know the designer, that is always a really hard choice to decide to rave about it. Because if I rave about it and I know, and I have a personal connection to the designer, again, my neighbor, not my friend, hate this person, but you know, they live near me, so I tolerate them. If I push this and it is not a good game, that is such a disastrous hit to my credibility as a reviewer, and one that I would never take. Like I don't care about you all one bit. I care about myself, and I care about you all. I care about the audience, right? Like I desperately care about you all and guiding you in the right direction. But I just think this game is so fun, and I was worried about replayability because whenever you see a game nowadays, it needs like 1 million cards, right? And this one only has like 36 action cards or something. Yeah, 36, look at that. 36 action cards. And so when you see a game like that, I'm like, oh, 36 action cards with 4 players, like that's not going to be enough actions. You don't see them all in the game, right? You have 95 cards here, essentially, that you can add. And if you're wild and crazy, you're going to add 9 to your hand, right? So even still, that's 2 plays if everybody were to buy all 9 cards completely differently, and that's not going to happen. Usually you get around 6 cards or 7 cards or something. And so I was worried. I was worried about that idea of replayability, but I've played it a bunch now, and I've pursued different strategies, and I've gone down different paths of what I like, and I can see myself playing this a bunch. I really can. I can see myself reaching for it, especially with that accessible time. Like, I love the time on it. That's why I love Red Cathedral. That 80 minutes is just such a nice sweet spot to get like a really chunky experience in a short amount of time. You don't find that often in games, and I think this one does that. I think it's really good. If that isn't convincing enough for you, I think it is really good. And if you like that engine building idea, or you like that idea of worker placement, like worker placement is in my top 10 mechanisms, and deck and pool building is in my top 10 mechanisms, right? And asymmetric player powers is in my top 10 mechanisms. And this has all 3 of them. So of course this is a game that I'm going to enjoy and I'm going to like. But it all really, really fits together. I don't know if it's the title, if people think it's an environmentalist game, because I don't think those themes do that well. That's why Daybreak had to change its name from whatever it was before. I don't know if it's because this video is like a cinematic trailer before you get to any of the gameplay. Well, I'd have to refresh it's still going. I mean, it's a very epic trailer, but it takes a while to tell you what the game's actually about. But then when you get to it, Yeah, it's great. It's pretty good. And I don't know if it's because the honestly, the updates and the contests have felt a little lackluster, mainly because every update ends with, please, please get us back on Kick Track. Please. I'm desperate for it. But I get it, right? Like, I get it when you have like a really good product and people follow that product and then they're like, oh no, just for some reason we're not going to get it. I legitimately don't understand. Like, I know they had some of the most followers in a Burned Highland campaign ever, and it's not performing like any other Burned Highland campaign. And I'd love to know, actually, if you're not backing, why. But for me personally, I think this is one worth spending your money on. I do. But one of you won't have to, because one of you is going to win a copy, the copy that I could have selfishly kept myself, but I did not, because I wanted to prove to you all that I believe in the product, I guess, and would pay my own money. And if you know anything about this channel, I mean, you probably do because you're watching Crowdfunding Countdown, you know everything is too expensive for me. And even still, I passed up a freebie so that I could, there's no other weight I feel that I could throw behind this project than spending my own money. I can't think of one. So anyway, so if you're interested in that, well, stay tuned to the end of the episode because you might win a copy if you commented over there. And that finishes June 13th at 10 a.m. I'll tell you one more thing before we go. I like this game so much that I told Renee I'd be in 5 minutes, and this certainly has been taking longer than that. And she's probably mad because she's making a very nice dinner. So I'm going to go do that. But then, yeah, check out the game. It's very good. All right. What's next? Okay, you freaks. Let's look at Freak War that I don't have any expectations for, but you know what? Sometimes these things, rarely, really rarely, they change my mind, but they might. You're saying there's a chance. Honestly, this song, though, it's a bop. And now it's over. It's just war. I mean, you flip a card, and you flip a card until you get a creature, and then so you get to use modifiers that you've add to build on each other, but it's just war. Or you have a hand of cards, you play a card. Oh, dang it, Freak War. Well, it's in the title. Honestly, that's on me. That's on me. It's in the title. It is in the title. That finishes Thursday, June 13th at 11:58 a.m. Let's keep it moving to the Big Bad Wolf. The Big Bad Wolf. Ooh, the Big Bad Wolf. Is that a song? I think that's a song. Is that 5 for fighting? Freddy's 5 fingers? Who knows? It doesn't matter. $11. Who made a deposit? VIP? What? So are you a VIP deposit? There's no FAQ. Oh, gross. So they're doing a VIP special. That means they probably did a $1 pre-pledge. And how much did they make? 11,000. 10,000 of that probably went to launch Boom. Right? Why? Also, I can only assume people are in for that VIP pledge and not really anything else. Well, 141, sure, people. $11 is fine, but that should be the price for everybody. This is an interesting one because I want to cut the coverage of it because apparently as you scroll down, there's a VIP special right here, which means that they did a VIP pledge, which means $1 pre-pledge, which means we don't cover it. But I already looked into it, and guess what? It's a worse cockroach poker. There's like a small amount that looks fine, but I would never play this over cockroach poker. Just ever. Cockroach poker is just objectively a better game. It's like they took that rule set and made it less interesting. And in addition, they spent $10,000 on marketing. So I don't know what to tell you. I can only assume since there's a VIP, and I know that's how much Launch Boom charges. Hope they didn't. Your goal should be $13.50 if that's it, but whatever. We're moving on. I'm going to assume that one's a write-off. Let's go to, and I never thought I would say this, a better game by Queen Games, Dabba Walla. It's certainly better than that we just looked at. The famous Dabba Walla invite everyone to join them on their daily journey through Mumbai. This is going to be way too expensive because it's Queen Games and they don't care about giving you a deal. It also has raised probably the smallest amount that Queen Games has ever raised, but that doesn't matter because Queen Games just kind of puts it up and is like, hey, you want to order it from us? We're going to put it in retail stores anyway. I don't know what Queen Games' business model is anymore, but we are still going to look at it because I like looking at stuff. Oh, 35. Yeah, Queen Games. Is this the best Queen Games game ever? Are things turning around? I think so. Let's go. I'm so excited. Smart storage boxes for quick and easy pickup. Okay. Side parts of the game board are used as lids. Cool. The famous Dabba Walla invite everyone to join them on their daily journey through Mumbai. Pickup. The work of the Dabba Walla begins early in the morning with the pickup of the dabbas from the customer's home. I bet you're going to bring the dabbas to the wallas. Let's find out. Sorting. The dabbas are sorted at central points and transported onward by bicycles, train, and on-head wooden box trays. Delivery. Once they arrive at the destination, they're delivered to the offices by foot or bike. Okay, so gameplay, 2 phases. You move your Dabba Walla around Mumbai, collecting the Dabba cards from various places. Now you can see there, you could collect that one, or there, you could collect that one. That makes sense. These cards show on the top half the Dabba tile that the players collect, and the bottom half, the tip value that is used to influence the score in the second phase of the game. Because you want the most tips, obviously. You're not carrying all those 17 boxes on your head for free. When moving more than 1 space, players have to pay with permission tickets to get the card they want. So it seems like a little rondel here, 6 spaces to choose from 6 different cards. Now you have 3 Dabba cards in your hand. They'll choose one to play, collecting this corresponding Dabba tile. They'll strategically place this tile on their player board, further completing the current layer or starting a new layer on top of it. Okay. When placing a Dabba tile, clever players will be able to form a complete chai tea symbol, earning bonus chai tile. Cool, different bonuses. After playing 13 rounds, you'll have a cart full of dabbas waiting to be delivered. Oh, okay, so the first half of the game just goes through that stacking. Did you try to complete full levels, hoping to score together with the other players, or did you build up your stacks high, hoping to score on your own? I see. Now you flip the game board and start delivering your dabbas layer after layer, beginning with the highest layer among players. Players will have collected their Dabba cards in a personal discard pile. You now use the bottom of these cards to influence the tips they will receive. For each layer, you have to play 1 card, even those who did not build that layer. Hopefully you watched your opponents and collected good cards, so you can collectively benefit from playing the same colors and raise the tip values on your dabbas. Okay, cool. So you want to just crank up your own tips on your own color, essentially. So when you deliver this, because you want the red ones to be racked up, so you're trying to balance the pieces that you've collected and the cards that you get. Yeah, I think this looks okay. Download rules. That feels very comprehensive. Queen Games. Are you my favorite company now? I think you might be. Family and friends. That's us. You and I, Queen Games. Okay, so the tickets are, you can pick them up when they let you move further and they rest on the space, and if somebody else goes there, they get those tickets. Very similar to Canvas, I think. You know what? I think this looks kind of okay. Of course, the game that I think looks okay is like the lowest Queen Games. And you can play with the different orientation. I don't know how you get single dabbas, but I guess you can. There's another one too, Graffiti. You know what? We might as well look at it. Download the rules, sure. Oh yeah, it was on the page. Okay, so it's kind of action selection, worker placement style. You can do 4 things on your turn. Your goal is to score the most points after completing a bunch of graffiti. You can get a paint tile, you can obtain permits, you can spray graffiti, and you can take bonus tiles. And you can see that it costs you 1 spray can to get the first one here, 2 spray cans. So there's a little bit of a action efficiency, worker efficiency style. You can have worker permits. Presumably these will correspond with spots on the board that you can actually legally spray the graffiti. You spray your graffiti in a section of the tunnel. You must discard a permit token with the same number of pips as shown in this section of the tunnel. So boom, you get rid of it too. So you're doing graffiti, but you're doing it in the legal way. Or you can take bonuses. And then the end of the round, keep going until spray painting is complete. 6 of the however many there are, 10? For each of your tags on a spot, you get as many points as that spot has sections if it's been completed. So the easier ones, there are some that are easier to complete, but you will get less points for that. So there'll be a little bit of a give and take of, do you go for quick points or do you not? Probably going for the larger ones will always be better. But yeah, you know, a fine looking game. It's 35 for each one of them. You could get it for 96, and then shipping to the US is $10 or 25 or 15 for the combo. 22 to get to Canada. I mean, listen, I think this is the first time Queen Games has put forward anything worth considering. Do I think we should still consider it? Probably not. But I think it's a decent price. I think the games look fine and almost potentially enjoyable. And I'm very excited for that. I don't know if either of these games would make me spray graffiti all over myself and tattoo the names of the games to my buttocks, as most amazing games do. There is no space down there. But I think I am like really, really satisfied with everything here that Queen Games is offering, and that is not something I have said. Usually, Queen Games is the person that I like to pick on the most, but now I have a new punching bag, and it's Launch Boom. So Queen Games, you're okay in my books, even though you didn't treat your backers that well that one time, and that still makes me salty. However, yeah, I think both of these could actually be pretty decent. If you're looking for a lightweight game, $35 seems reasonable. You could probably just pick it up in retail, but you never know with these sorts of things. So if you're interested in that, check that out. The finish is Thursday, June 13th at 6 p.m. Moving along, to Hex Effects, a spellbinding card game. I'm thrilled this game is doing so well. This is a very, very simple game that should not have as long of a playthrough as some of us may have made, but some of us did make a long playthrough. And if you haven't seen it, I really highly recommend you go check out my playthrough of this because it is emblematic of the silliness that I like to do. And so if you like silliness and you want to see Il Capitano and Il Dottore and myself and Zach do a 4-player game of Hex Effects where we draw it out past the point of it being a reasonable length, well, you can go check this one out. I mean, I like this video, and I want more people to watch this video. And in doing so, you'll see if Hex Effects is right for you. $55? No, absolutely not. Alchemist, $20? Here you go. A mischievous game. It's just a big old take that fest, right? That's all it is. And so Zach and I thought we could make a pretty funny video about it when they reached out to us, and it was a joyous, fun, funny thing to do with my good friend Zach. You're going to draw 2 cards in your turn, and then you either play a cure for one of your diseases, or you give somebody else a disease that they are susceptible to, because once you cure yourself, then you are susceptible to more diseases, but you aren't susceptible to the disaster effects that are on the card, essentially. It's a silly little game that I would not recommend for, like, if you love complex games. This is not that. But as Zach said in our final thoughts, it's like a really good game for like non-gamers, so to speak. People who just want something to do while they drink and chat, and a way to interact with people in a way that, is better than the normal games of this style. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it was just because we were having a blast being Capitano and Dottore. But I think that's the spirit at which you want to engage in this sort of game. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check it out. The finish is Friday, June 14th at 12:59 a.m. So that's Thursday night. We're moving on to 4 games. Thanks a lot, 25th Century. Big Sur, Grand Central Skyport, Sand Art, and Wine Cellar. Mix and match your pledge from 4 new games across a variety of styles, themes, and player counts to elevate your next game night. Sure, I mean, I'm a big fan of 25th Century games, mainly because of how much they knocked Raw out of the park. It's a fantastic game, and so I hope that they did a wonderful production with these, and let's check it out and see. Well, surprisingly, you'd think in a minute and 24-second video, I wouldn't learn anything about any of them, but I think I got 2 of them. I think I got 2 of them down. I think I missed the other 2, but I think I got 2 of them down. Let's check them out down here. We have 4. Grand Central Skyport. Efficiently operate your Skyport and attract the most prestigious tycoons to gain the coveted title of Grand Central Skyport. Aha! Take that, you other pathetic East Lower Skyport. Sand Art. Create the most unique and visually pleasing bottles. So it's a little roll and write where you're coloring in patterns. Wine Cellar. Quick, elegant, easy to learn wine bottle auction game. You and your rival sommeliers have decided to face off to determine who is best. You're getting wine bottles and matching them up in the scoring conditions. And then Big Sur, you've been tasked with building part of the most impressive highway in the United States, California's Highway Number 1. That's why they call it Number 1, because it's the most impressive. That one it's Race for the Galaxy. That's what it is. Okay, let's see. Let's go through. Wine Cellar, $15. Okay, I'm interested. $20 MSRP. 72 wine bottle cards, 30 client cards, a rulebook, and a score pad. Big Sur, 15. Are these all going to be 15? No, they can't be. 15 is nice, though. Sand Art, 20. Great. The roll and write is more expensive. And Grand Central Skyport, 30. Still all pretty good. Oh, but then there's a deluxe. Of course there is. All 4 games, $65. That's pretty good. I mean, that is pretty good. Little thing from 25th Century Games saying crowdfunding is important. It is. It's how you are able to support the companies more effectively than retail. But if you are cheap, you can still do retail. But if you like a company and you want them to continue existing, then crowdfunding is the way to do it. All right, Big Stir, you can draw cards. You can build the highways using those cards to build sections, and then you refill the market, which they didn't tell you was at the beginning. Give me the rules. All right, so there's a little bit of a market that you can choose from. All these cards will have a resource on them, or they will have stuff that it gives you when you build it. And then you also have some landmarks, which I wonder what they do. That's what I want to know. On a player's turn, you draw any 2 cards from the face-up row into their hand. You can also draw the topmost card of the deck. Great. I see each card is broken down into the landscape on one side and the landscape on the other side, and you're going to be extending those things. It's kind of like Panorama, but you actually have to build the cards from your hand. You need materials, and so you have to get the materials with those multi-use cards. Oh, great. You can also use materials listed on the bottom right-hand corner of any 1 mile cards already in their tableau. Specifically only 1 mile, because that's what they are. They're the building blocks. This is the engine building. I think this is great. Landmarks are added above a highway card when they are earned. So when you have 3 forests, you earn the landmarks, so they're like the nobles in Splendor. Materials on the below card may be used twice per turn. Cool, so you can put it over someplace and then you can have double that. So basically they just give you bonuses. Scoring, players score 1 point per mile. In each stretch is 2 or more adjacent highway cards containing the same terrain type. 2 miles have scoring conditions on the cards, and they add up your scores. High scored wins. I think that looks great. For $15, I think that looks great. I think that looks like a really great game. Let's keep it moving. You have to think about what card is on the top of your discard pile. What's that about? Is that the last page? Oh, look at that. Personal discard piles provide additional benefit. When building, the player may use the material displayed on the topmost card of their personal discard card. Oh, great. So it's even a little bit more effective. Yeah, look at that. A yellow box. Friggin' yellow. I hate when yellow boxes in the rulebook that are usually like, this is flavor text, or this is... it tells you a really important rule. Well, thank you, Lance. I think this looks really good. Okay, let's keep the hits coming. Come on, Wine Cellar, let's go. Illustrated by Vincent Dutré. He drew 1 bottle and then changed the color. How to play. You draw cards. You start with 8 wine bottles and a client objective card. Then you have some secret bidding. Then you reveal the cards, where you can choose a bottle for your cellar. And you score your bottles. I don't know how. Maybe little rows of numbers. The symbols, I understand. The labels, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Good thing there's a rule book, because that didn't make any sense. People saw bidding? Vincent Dutré? Okay. Well, look, in 25th Century Games, they're making wine now. I heard that every one of these comes with an entire case of wine, a barrel of wine shipped to your door if you get 1 base pledge of Wine Cellar. That's what I heard. That's what they told me. Okay, over the course of 8 rounds, so they're multi-use cards, essentially. Over the course of 8 rounds, you'll be collecting wine bottles to create cellar for your clients. Bottles will be arranged to create a timeline for the order in which the wine will be consumed. Oh, or maybe you're not, then you get to arrange them at the end. And so you want 1 of each number of high value, essentially. Players will also receive bonus based on their client's preferences for wine type and country of origin. Cool, okay. White wine, sparkling wine, red wine, rosé wine. After the first round, additional bottles must be stored at the top or the bottom of the previously collected bottles, never in between them. Cool, so you have to add them on. All right, so you do have to be strategic in how you arrange them. Oh, and the bidding cards from the round are then placed in the center of the table, and they'll be the prize bottles for the next round. Yeah, and then you go and also hit your client goals. Nice! That's also going to be good. Even the lead singer from Simple Plan thinks so. Okay, let's keep it coming. Sand art. Sand art does look fun. I already think it looks fun. Oh, a little eraser? I hope that's an eraser. Oh, it's a first player token. Well, yeah, because they're colored pencils. You can't erase colored pencil. Okay. How to play. Pick up sand for your supply. Get some. Scratch it in. Get a bonus pattern. Pattern objectives. Yeah, okay. Gonna need a little bit more than that, but honestly, it's pretty close, probably. Because I want to know what this little side game is all about. Oh, cool. I do like this. You can either choose to get the points or get the ability, have a trade of points and ability. I would like if these abilities maybe were switched up, but they're probably comparative to where they appear in the line. Okay, so with the table card, you get to choose what you can do. You can gain sand, pour sand, mix sand, or shake your bottle. Shake, shake, shake your bottle. Each table card has 2 locations, top half, bottom half. You can choose either half as you move across the table. But you must move in the direction of the thumb on your hand token. Okay, so you start at one side, you move across and grab one, and you'll inherently miss some. And so you have to bounce back and forth between collecting things and then laying the sand down, depending upon how efficient you are. Yeah, I like that. So gain, you get the sand. Pouring sand, You can pour, if you have that type of sand, that's how you turn it into different colors. Cool, because you're just getting primary colors. You have to fill a full section with dots. You can't just fill around it, and the dots indicate how much sand you need to put in there. 2 + 2 = 2. Mixing sand lets you create those secondary colors, and then shake it up. Both are two actions. Pour, shake the layer cards on the table. I don't know what layer cards are, but I'm sure I'll find out. The layer cards on the side, yes. They allow you to gain a layer card from the end of the workbench. So they're just bonus colors, essentially. But they have to be laid in that specific area. And your hand flips back and forth. Yeah, scoring points. You score for the points you made and the objectives. Cool. Interested. I'm not as excited about it as I am the other two, but I think that's still good. And then finally, we have the Grand Central Skyport. Yeah, no idea how to play from that description, so I need to read the rules. You're going to grab cards, you're going to put them in a tableau, and you're going to sink into the deep, dark, black void. Oh no, we're back. We're floating above the sky again. We were floating, and then we went into despair, but then we're floating again, and then we're fine. So arrival phase. There's going to be 4 phases. Arrival, Skyport, Tycoon, Acquire. Basically, you're placing cards, moving cards, triggering abilities, and then moving on the rondelle. So you place it on the left or the right. No, you place it depending upon what thing it is. You have standard airships, you have wild airships, which can be any color, and then you have stations. So you're just creating this tableau, and you probably want to score points based upon your station and these colors around them. And then tycoons are placed directly under a station card, which they remain active for the rest of the game. You can gain extra victory points, or you gain abilities. So the Skyport phase is where you move the airships. Airships will have a specific way to be moved. You want to stack them together, probably, depending upon the stations. Again, just sort of shuffling these stacks around. And you can move around and take these abilities. It's not as immediately clear as where the fun will happen with this. I think the shuffling cards around feels like it potentially could be fun. It could be strategic, or you could end up getting hamstrung. Like I like this being the idea of at the end game state, and how all of these things are interacting and scoring, and you see the different stacks. Like, I think that shows like a really nice dynamic state. The way it's described in terms of how you move things around, it's kind of take an action, move a thing around. I'm not entirely sold on it, but I can see the benefit. Yeah, let's see what shipping's like. 1 game, $10. All 4 games, $15 to the US. So you can get all 4 games for $80. Yeah, I mean, 3 out of 4 seem pretty good. I mean, 2 out of 4 seem really good, and then the other 2 seem like they have potential, realistically. It's not a horrible choice when some games cost you 80. But then again, no, you're not even kind of settling for mediocrity. I think, legitimately, Big Sur looks like a really nice filler, and Wine Cellar has that potential too. I think Sand Art and Central Skyport, meh, half and half. I think they look good. I think they look like, fine, decent games that you would enjoy, but I don't know if you need to purchase them. But yeah, a really nice fare, a really nice 4-pack. Again, like, what are you people doing? Spending millions of dollars on Terraria. Like, come on. When there's stuff like this, there's stuff like How to Save a World that earns your money in like a much significantly better way than that sort of garbage IP cash grab, right? Like, I don't think it's a cash grab. I think it's just unfinished. So maybe it is a cash grab, Like, this makes me mad. Like, 25th Century is a really good company. Burnt Island's a really good company. And like, both of them, these games look great. And they have such low funding goals compared to just garbage. I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, Big Sur, Wine Cellar really look nice. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Friday, June 14th at 5 p.m. Let's move along to, oh no, Feudum. Feudum, it's raised a whole bunch of money. It's the Game of the Year winner. It's back with a 7th Anniversary Collector's Edition featuring exclusive Clockwork Behemoth. And the reason I said, oh no, is because the only thing that I have heard about Feudum, like the only thing, is that, it's complicated. It's clunky. It takes a while to learn. It takes a while to get to the table. But then when you do, it's good. That's what I've heard. But apparently, it seems like it's a lot more than good. It seems like it's excellent. Wow, look at that cool little Loch Ness monster. I am scared to read this rulebook, and I'm not going to guarantee that I'm gonna. But we're going to take a look, and we're going to see the best that we can make of this thing. Great, that told me nothing. Blimey! It's the 7th anniversary of Feudum. Better snatch your sack of coins before it's too late. Oh, I've heard about this game. You gotta snatch your sack of coins before it's too late. Feudum is an economic medieval game of hand management and resource management for 2 to 5 players. Many strategies at your disposal. Players optimize 4 actions per turn in an attempt to score the most victory points over 5 epochs. That's it. That's all you need to know. Buy it. Let's get cool art. Yep, that's pretty much all I tell you. Great. $75. Okay. I was expecting 100, so I like 75. I mean, I don't need plushies, but 25mm behemoth. It's pretty fun. 3 rule books. Oh, German, French, and English. Thank goodness. What's new? Not a lot, but a couple quality of life sort of things. Oh, and a few other surprises. No, there's not. Playing the game. Okay, let's see. You control several medieval characters that roam the countryside, tending farms, taxing towns, and taking outposts in effort to rise in power. You'll also compete to acquire coveted feudums, which increase your membership status in one of the 6 guilds. But in order to have a feudum, you have to pay homage to the king through military service. Once a guild member, you'll dutifully play your part in a working economy whereby the farmer ships goods to the merchant, who equips the alchemist, who invents black powder, which arms the knight, and so on. If you run your guilds wisely, maintain control of key locations, and adapt best to changing events, you'll be victorious. Unless, of course, you starve, get sidetracked by sea serpents, or develop an unhealthy interest in fermented grapes. Long live the king! Down the rulebook. Yes, please. How many pages are we going to guess? 40? Let's guess 40. 24! Oh, that's not that complicated. 2 hours later. So here's the crux of the game. You're going to take 4 action cards from your deck. You have a hand of 11, I think, a deck of 11, and then you're going to do these actions. You can do 1 action, and then if you have a good or a pawn in place, you can do a second action. Oh, no, sorry, they enhance or replace the regular action. So you can do a better version of that action. For example, the move action card depicts the monk pawn in his special ability. Great. As is very clear. Thanks for explaining that one. Oh yeah, because the monk has got a little cross. Cards ×2. This action may be played again by using the repeat action card later in the same round. Cannot be played again in the same round. The card can't be the last card. Oh, perform the regular action or the special ability, but not both, and then score points. During card selection, you can pay a saltpeter rather than a salt paul, or a sulfur rather than a sol hair. Got him. To gain a bonus during this round. You can get an extra action, so a 5th action card to your hand, cool. Or you can play 2 in a row. Can't do both. And I like this. There's a way to just sort of lock things in a fun way. You say, long live the king, then everybody has to be stuck with their actions. Here are the 11 action cards. Migrate. You can migrate one of your pawns to or from the board. You take a pawn, which is a dice, rotate it so that one of its 6 characters are face up, so you decide what guild it belongs to, and then you place it in a location already containing one of your pawns or influence. Or in a starting location. Great, so put things on the board. With the advanced game, yeah, these advanced games don't feel like they shake up too much. Move! You can move. That seems pretty simple. You can influence. Add 1 influence marker to each location containing one of your pawns. If your pawns are at 3 different locations, you could add 3 different influences. During the game, a location may hold a maximum of 3 influences belonging to 2 different players. If you're the first to add an influence marker to the location, you place it on top of the disc. You're the ruler. If you're the second, you're a serf. So you have the right to tend the landscape. And then only those 2 people can put influence markers in that spot. But if the serf puts another person, they basically usurp or usurp one of them, the person who is winning. All right. Locations you rule may increase your guild status. So each guild has a specific requirement, and depending upon where you are and how much you control, that influences the requirement and shows who controls what guild. 4. Improve action. Turn in the required resource to improve a location you rule as follows. Outpost to farm, farm to town, town to feudum. Building these things up. This is the first time I've ever heard a hummingbird, and it sounds like a bee. This is so close. All right, this seems pretty simple. The moment you rule a feudum, you become a vassal, earning you powerful status in the related guild. However, you must pay tribute to the king in form of military service. If you do not perform several conquer actions by the end of the game, you could lose veneration points for disloyalty. Okay, so you just have to fight someone. You're like, oh, I have a feudum. You know there's going to be fighting. And some of the landscapes have resources on them. That's all that's saying. Explore action. If you rule an outpost, remember an outpost being the number 1 thing, draw 2 royal writ cards, +1 for each additional outpost or feudum ruled, and keep 1 of them. Royal writs are mandates and charters. Mandates grant you resources or attack strength. Charters grant you endgame veneration points. So they're always good stuff. So get cards, get good stuff. Harvest action. If you rule a farm, you can play the harvest to get goods. Okay. Remember, you need goods. Why do you need goods? You need goods to improve some stuff and to get additional actions and bonuses. You can tax. If you rule a town, you can tax to collect 2 shillings, plus 1 shilling for each additional town or feudum you rule. Okay, you can have the conquer action. That's it. That's the conquering that you want to do for the king. The king just loves to watch you punch each other in the face. If one or more of your pawns occupies the same location as an opponent's pawn, you can attempt to conquer and remove it from play. Conquer can't be your last action in a round. Also, outposts, farms, and towns may never be targeted. Yes, you can target an opponent's pawn, or you can just go to their feudum. And I guess each different type of person has an attack and a defense value. If the attack is successful, score 2 victory points. Return the conquered pawn to the opponent. They're dead. Adjust the guild status. And if desired, move one of your player discs onto the military service track. Kill a feudum, score 4 victory points. So you want to be building up these feudums, and then you want to be attacking each other's feudums as well. Defend action. If you think you're going to be attacked, you can do the defend action. I like that because then you're wasting a card if they don't attack you. Repeat action lets you do the same card again. And then the guild action lets you interact with the guilds. Okay, cool. And this is just like rotating around the resources so that you can get points. Guild action seems to be the way you get mucho points. Look at that. Guild membership is a crucial part of the game. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Or it's almost like I looked ahead and then just pretended. One of the two. Cool. And that's how you get stuff, is through these guilds. All right. That's just it. I think that's it. It's just different guilds. Last action, nourish pawns. You have to spend food and wine. Unnourished pawns go back into your personal supply. So the more people you have out, the more you have to feed them. Cool. Cool. I think that looks fun. It melts my brain in the most glorious way. Shipping, $19. That feels standard. I've seen how big this box is. $15 to Canada. Hey! What's that about? That's nice. So 15 is 24. 24 Canadian. So it'd be $128 to get this game. I think it looks like a game that I would be happy to play. I don't know if I necessarily need to add it to my collection. It feels like it would be a bit difficult to get to the table, although I think it's probably a little bit overblown. I think if you had a good teacher, you'd be fine. I like the art. I don't really see the economics of it, I guess because you're constantly juggling food. It feels a bit more sandbox area control style, like you're juggling resources between the guilds, right? Like that's where the economics come in, is the push and pull of the resources and how you manage those resources. Or you can say, this guy's an idiot. It was all talking about money back then, because I know they have silver coins and can't tell you what those do. Just kidding, you can buy things with them. Yeah, I think it's just okay. I think people who have played it, this is one where I think this one suffers from the hobby being huge. You know what I mean? I think this game is probably pretty good, and it's probably going to be on a lot of people's shelves, and it's probably not going to get played as much as it might deserve to. You know, but I think the people who know it and play it will enjoy it a lot. I like the idea of choosing those actions. I like that idea of wasting that action on defense. I like that there's a little bit of interaction there. Yeah, it seems fun. But just because I say it looks cool doesn't mean you have to immediately go out and get it. Lots of games look cool. But if you're interested in this one, this finishes June 14th at 5 p.m. Moving along to Village Pillage. We will pill. The big box new expansion. Magic makes its way to Village Pillage, the fourth and final expansion to the critically acclaimed game. I've looked at this game before and I forget everything about it, but it won a Mensa Select, so that excites me. Let's see. Fast game of turnip stealing, risk, and betrayal. In this game, you're racing your neighbors to acquire 3 relics and prove your right to rule. You play cards against both of your neighbors. It's rock, paper, scissors meets the prisoner's dilemma with turnips. It doesn't sound that fun. If you think your opponents are planning to farm, raid them. If they're planning to attack, man the walls. And if they're putting up defenses, it's farming time. Well, okay. I'm changing my tune already. Because I can then say, listen, I'm going to be farming. It's okay. All I'm doing is farming this whole time. And then people will think I'm attacking them. And then I can just farm. Buy more powerful cards to improve your hand. Once you have enough turnips, you have to send your vulnerable merchant to buy a relic. And your neighbors know that. But you know they know that. But they know you know that they know that. Yeah, I think that's cool. You have these 4 cards. You choose 2. You play 1 against each neighbor. Everybody reveals. And they only have an effect against the symbols that are shown. So in this instance, the X has an effect because they made a wall, and this raider doesn't get to do anything because the person blocked them. $50 for the full card game. 68 Canadian. Plus what? Shipping for the big box, 14 to the US. Or if you just want the expansion. Like if you already are a fan of this game, I'm not going to change your mind whatsoever. You know if you want more or less. I don't know if you want the big box. Oh, Looks like Yuval's backing that. I'll have to ask him about it. Yuval seems to like it. That's my non-friend, Yuval. Yeah, I can see the benefit of this. Yuval has some kids as well, whose ages I know, but I'm not going to say here because I know them. I definitely know them. They're in the 16 to 9 range. Anyway, might be good for kids. Yeah, I think this looks good. I don't know if I would jump in personally on the big box. I think it's something I would want to pay 15 or 20 bucks for, but something worth looking out for. Potentially fun. I think it would probably overstay its welcome. But who knows? That finishes Saturday, June 15th at 12 a.m. Moving along to this one, Alpine Trails. It's a puzzling strategy game for 1 to 5 players. Build trails through the mountains with campsites, waterfalls, and wildlife. All right, you draw 2 tiles. Both tiles will need to be placed somewhere on each player's individual map. Choose trail or terrain. All tiles are double-sided. Cool. One side features a segment of trail with the terrain type. The other side displays 2 icons of a terrain type, often different from the terrain on the reverse side. So you just choose one or the other. If you have a trail that's at least 6 miles long, you can spend one of your tiles to build a campsite and put an adorable tent on it, which will score major points at the end of the game. Other players' actions can have you get wildlife. Sure. What are those actions? I'm interested. Tiles must always connect back to the base camp somehow, so you have to always continue to expand, and they have to match the picture. When any opponent plays a forked trail tile, you should take an animal token matching the habitat of the fork. You need to place that token on a terrain-only tile with a matching terrain type. When any opponent, so it's not even just like a neighbor thing, it's anybody. All right, that just means the first tiles you build, you can save an animal for later. So there's no worry about it then. If placing a trail tile completes a loop, so you are a waterfall. Take a waterfall tile from the supply. Okay, great. I thought those were at the back of some tiles, and I thought it was just going to be random. How do you score? Any group of orthogonally adjacent tiles of the same terrain is considered a habitat. Find your largest habitat, score a point for each terrain icon found in that habitat. For each of the 4 terrain types. So yeah, your largest group, it's Cascadia. For each waterfall, you get 1 tile for everything surrounding it. For each lake, for each campsite, 8 points for each tent. Oof, that's good. Well, because you're expanding. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I get it. And then 2 points for every animal. You're only allowed to have 1 of each type, so your maximum score is 8 points. Scoring path, longest path. Okay. Yeah, I can see this being fun. It's like a mix of Trailblazers and Carcassonne. And 30 bucks. That feels reasonable. What's shipping like? Probably a lot. United States, 10. You know what? 40 bucks for this? I think that's pretty decent for a simple little tile laying game. Good job, Alpine Trails. I expected much worse from you, but I'm very happy you funded. Very happy for you. And if you're interested in that, that finishes Saturday, June 15th at 2:59 a.m. Moving along to one I also expect worse of, but that's why we look into it. Cosmic Conquest. Like, I almost skipped Alpine Trails. I did, because I was like, it's only raised, 4,000, like 3,000 US. It's only 78 backers. I think I know everything about it. But I like the dual terrain type. I like the expanding of that. I like the little bit of randomness that you're working with. I think, it's kind of nice. All right, Cosmic Conquest. Let's see. I mean, this is one's going to let me down, but, not all of them do. That's why we look at them. Yeah, again, not horrible here. Kind of gives me a little Masks vibe, although I think Masks is better. MASQUES. You're going to take a faction card. You see who you'll be playing as this round. And then you're going to be drawing cards from the center, and you may not be drawing your own faction. That's the key. So you get to choose where those cards go, even if it's not yours. And so I do like that idea of, I have now drawn your level 3. Masks, you draft it, which I think is more exciting because you have more control. More control is always more exciting to me, but that's just me. I like control. 15 pounds, $27 Canadian. Oh, look at that. And then you have -1s where you can dump other people in that. That's kind of fun. You could go heavily for the 2s or just go in on the 1s. Yeah, I like that as a little advanced variant. 27 Canadian plus whatever shipping is. £3.99 to the UK. That's great. $9.10 for the Europe, and then $11, $17, $70 for the world. So it'd be like 48 for me, would be my guess. 46.67. I was close. In either case, way too much for what it is, but I thought it was going to look bad, and I think there's a fun little game here. So good job, Cosmic Conquest. That finishes Saturday, June 15th at 8:47 a.m. Let's keep it moving. This hasn't funded yet. I've already looked at it. You're going to draft a hand of rock, paper, scissors cards. I really just clicked on it because I wanted to talk about Kaiju Ultimate Gambler. If you haven't watched it, sorry, Kaiji Ultimate Gambler, not the live action one, but this guy. In the first season, he's in super debt and he gets drawn into this game where he has to play rock, paper, scissors with people, but you only have 3 cards, and there's a huge, like, everybody's trying to scam each other and cheat each other. It's actually a very fun show, if you like that sort of thing. That's what made me think of this. I think that would be a more fun way to play rock, paper, scissors with cards, is not to draft them, but to have a whole room of people gambling, putting their lives on the line, or they go into permanent debt where their entire lives will be ruined forever. GotchaCards! That's a real gotcha card. Anyway, this, you just, you draft the cards, and then you'll play them heads up. And I know that you drafted all scissors, so I guess we'll see what happens. The finish is Saturday, June 15th at 2 p.m. Let's keep it moving to All-Time Wrestling Rumble in Abu Dhabi. All-Time Wrestling is back now with Rumble matches, new legends, Sergeant Slaughter, JYD, Kamala, Nick Aldis, and more. I've always thought this one looks, you know, fine. I think they contacted me. They asked, are you interested in wrestling? And I said, well, my friends Cody and Colin are. They're wrestling fans, so maybe I'll get it and I'll play it with them. Let me know if you want me to cover this. I've covered it before and I thought it looked okay. You know, it looks fun. You're managing your stamina and your cards and playing a bunch of cards depending upon how many cards you can play, and you're building up momentum as well, and you have some like reversal cards. I like the takes that it's done on the wrestling genre. I've played a wrestling game that was fine, and it feels like the iteration of that to make it a little bit better than fine. I don't remember what the wrestling game was called. Let's call it generic wrestling, and this is fairly the same. So I think it looks okay. I think if you're a wrestling fan, you should check it out. And I think if you're not a wrestling fan, I don't really know if I care about it all that much. So yeah, it's cool that they're adding in a free-for-all, a Rumble edition. I imagine it will keep the core of the gameplay, and I'm actually surprised that it hasn't raised as much, because I remember All-Time Wrestling doing pretty well. Oh no, 39,000. All right, it's about the same then. And then the Extreme Edition, 38,000. Wow, I remember this doing like 200,000. But they're on track for a similar goal, so it shows you that the core audience keeps on coming back, and they're highly rated. So yeah, I remember thinking that it looked good. Not exceptional, but good. And if you're interested in that, it finishes Monday, June 17th at 12:19 p.m. We're going to keep on moving to this next one. Hey, we've been proven wrong twice this time. I'm hoping this proves me wrong for a third one. We have Cows versus Aliens Invasion, an outrageous game of cow abduction and grass kicking for 2 to 4 players. This video feels like the no-word videos that the kids shows that your 4-year-old nephew makes you watch. Not anyone in particular. Okay, so it looks like there's 2 to 4 players. You'll either be the cows or you'll be the aliens. $40 for this. I'm certainly not paying 100 or even looking at it, because that's absurd for what this game is. Ooh, I do love a cloth game, Matt. At least I think I do. Oh, thank goodness. I was like, shipping $40? No, $10. So $50 for the US. Is it only to the US? Is it only to the US? Nope, apparently not, but it's $10 to the US for the lower 48 states, and then all international orders will have shipping communicated after the campaign. Okay, don't worry about it. It's not going to be higher, I swear. So, cows, you roll the dice. You either move or other cows move. You flip over a card and see a random thing. Is it a good grass or is it bad grass? Aliens, you call in reinforcement, you explore the land, or you change the grass. It makes the cows lazy, but it's so delicious. And you have to abduct the cows and make milkshakes. No cows were harmed in the making of this milkshake. I mean, I think if you got kids, check it out. I think if you don't have kids, there's nothing. Right? That's basically what it comes down to. That finishes Tuesday, June 18th at 9:03 a.m. I don't really need to read the rules on that, but I'm happy that they have it. We're going over to Backer Kit. This is wild. We're back at Backer Kit for the first time since Munchkin Big Box. And it actually has another tabletop game instead of just pins, which is pretty cool. We have Werewolf in the Dark. Werewolf meets Hide and Go Seek in this brand new social deduction game from the creators of 2 Rooms and a Boom and Dead Last. 2 Rooms and a Boom just getting back in stock as well. So I'm excited. I think 2 Rooms and a Boom is very dynamic and interesting, and not something that I want to play all the time, but really great for a very large group. And so I'm interested to see what this one brings to the table. Although now that I think about it, that is why the 2 rooms in a boom, people. I imagine it's just Werewolf with the lights off. But let's see if I'm right. Well, they got me, because I don't really like Werewolf. I think Avalon's much better. However, I do like sneaking around in the dark. So I love that there's a print and play right at the top of the page. Yeah, come on. Oh, this is getting spooky. What's so spooky? What is this? What is this? Where is this music coming from? I don't want this. This is too scary. Oh no. Oh my gosh, all the sound effects. Okay, we have a free print and play for Werewolf in the Dark. The physical game that's played in complete pitch blackness. I'm too scared. The darker the better. To say there's a risk of injury or to property might be an understatement. More than one individual has been injured while playing Werewolf in the Dark. Please play at your own risk and play responsibly. Take all precautions necessary to reduce the risk of injury as much as possible. 2 versions, 1 game. I saw a video like that once. 2 possible boxes. You can play up to 56 players with all of them. That seems like madness. The Wolf Pack contains all the titular werewolf monsters, all balanced, maximum fun without much complexity, 28 unique characters, 5 monsters, 19 villagers, 4 villainous villains, with 15 unique ghost tokens. Or the Monster Box. You won't find any werewolves in the box. In fact, you'll find dynamic and balanced mix of your favorite classic monsters and other wild, recognizable characters. This has arguably more nuance and depth than its Wolf Pack counterpart, which I don't know if you want. It depends on your play group and who you're playing this with in the dark. I'm obsessed. I think I would go for green, but $50 you could get both. $100 you get everything. You can get 2 rooms in a boom as well. The World Championship Russian Roulette, which I've never heard, and that's not Lemonade, which also haven't played. 500 get everything in a hand-carved wood box. Wow. Oh, and it's got one of the characters on it. Oh, that's really cool. Is this game for me? You have a group of 6 or more consenting players. Access to a house, campground, property outside during a dark night. Yeah, it's not for me. I don't have a house. A shared desire for unforgettable evening of fear, chills, cheers, and thrills. You enjoy hidden role social deduction games like Among Us. You like childhood physical games such as Hide and Go Seek. I'm obsessed with this. Oh yeah, one of the designers designed Mothership, the RPG, which is kind of cool. I didn't know that. It's so good, it is categorically worth renting an Airbnb exclusively for the purpose of playing Werewolf in the Dark. Okay, I'm like hyped. Where are the rulebooks? Is that in the print and play? I bet it's in the print and play. I bet it was right at the top of the page, baby. Estimated shipping. Yeah, I also want to know that. To Canada. To Canada? Oh, but what about to Canada? I think that's me. Igdy. $31. Well, certainly takes away my enthusiasm. Even to the US, $18. I don't know, though. This seems... Okay, I need to read the rules. It says it's in the FAQ. Oh, thank goodness. Stop. I bet it's going to start again. If it doesn't start, I'm going to be more scared. Download the free print and play, yeah. But I love that I could just print this out and play. Like, I bet you really don't need to buy the game whatsoever. Maybe this will be my first game that I actually print and play. I love the concept. I really love the concept. I think the shipping is unfortunate. But yeah, I want to see what the print and play looks like. Don't get too cozy in your hiding spot, as Werewolf can win in a single night. Venture out in the dark and hope to find a body to end the terrifying night phase. So the werewolves just keep running around and killing people in the dark. And then, but you have rolls, etc. Aha, it does show it off. There we go. Here's some of the characters that you can do. The Beaster Bunny, you may kill once a night. If you die, hide your heart during the day, while others are in sanctuary. You only die when your heart is found and touched by another. Heart must be easily reached and unobstructed. So there's like a physical heart. That's funny. Ooh, rules. Here we go. Monsters win when monsters are no longer a minority. Okay, great. Here are the 3 rules. Never cause bodily harm. If this game feels like it might be too dangerous for you or your friends, you probably shouldn't play. Turn off all the lights if playing indoors, except for one central meeting room. The central meeting room with the lights off is the sanctuary. You need the light to teach the game. Pass out the character cards, provide a safe place to return after each night. Place all ghost tokens face down in the sanctuary. These tokens are only used by dead players. Gather LED candles or other light sources. Ghosts use dim light sources. You can use phone screens on their dimmest possible setting. Deal character cards. Return after they've all gotten their rolls. During the no phase, a guy calls out the rolls. So like Frankenstein knows who the monster is, essentially. Start an 8-minute timer. If the time runs out, the night phase ends immediately. If nobody dies during a night phase, villagers win. So that's the hide and seek part. Turn off the last light. in the Sanctuary. Living players enter the darkness and try to survive while also looking for dead bodies, those who may have been killed. Ghosts leave. Ghosts must wait 30 seconds before leaving the Sanctuary. Kill or die. Kill. Only specific characters may kill. Killing is done with a firm but harmless appropriate double tap on the target. Die. If you are killed, curl up safely in the fetal position. Only dead bodies may act dead. Night phase. Everyone returns to the Sanctuary, so the 8-minute timer happens, or a body has been found. Ghosts cannot find dead bodies, but a ghost could, like, hover over a dead body. Ghosts may only shamble. Both feet must always touch one another and remain on the ground at all times. Shambling should always be slower than walking. Simply walk slowly on the stairs. This seems like a very silly game, and that everyone should print and play, for sure. Players may say whatever they want. Honesty is optional. Okay, so can ghosts talk? I guess because it's supposed to be pitch black. I don't know if ghosts can talk. I mean, this game... This game seems exceptional, and everyone should check it out. That finishes Tuesday at 12 a.m., fittingly, in the middle of the night. Very good. And we're on to our last campaign of the week. Oh, I just had a horrible thought that I wasn't recording, but I am, thank goodness. We have Oath, New Foundations, return to the critically acclaimed world of Oath, and with expansions that offer players new ways to make the game their Oath. Well, I'm really interested in this game for two reasons. One, Cole Worley... I could listen to him speak about anything forever. We had him as a guest on the R&R show over on Rado's channel, and he's like one of my favorite guests to have. I was just like, I love his idea and his passion and his focus on storytelling. And that in that video, he even says that he's focusing on the players as being a collaborator. And I think that's such a great, awesome concept of how you can bring a game forward to light. And then number two, I've been interested in it since I met someone at Dice Tower West, Anne, shout out to Anne, who was telling me all about her game of Oath. And I think Anne said it was her favorite game, although she might have said it was one of her favorites. But I know that she was wanting to play it with Mike DeLisio because he also plays Oath a bunch. And so she was talking to me about like her whole chronicle and the notes that she had written down, and that it had been played over a large amount of time. And so there was like this real cool attachment to it. And I think that idea of an ever-evolving story and the concept of like, I mean, you could do this with any game, right? I guess you just write down what happened and then you say, hey, that's the lore. But the emphasis that this is that lore, I think is really interesting. It's a campaign game without the stress, you know? So New Foundations, I will not know how all of this stuff interacts because I have not played base Oath. Definitely interested in it. But I have faith that it will reward the heaviest of Oath players. And I think it's really cool that even in the video, he said, listen, there's so much to find out in Oath. They're like, yeah, we've played it 50 times. We've seen it all. So 50 times is your budget of when you need to get this expansion, according to Cole Worley. All the new stuff. And we have a Clockwork. We have a Solo, an Automoth thing as well, which is great. Change the foundations of the game with a fully revamped Chronicle phase. While the winner will be responsible for governing the Empire, the most important task is reserved for the holder of the darkest secret. Ah, so it's me. It's always been me. There was that one dark night. No, I can't. This player would draw cards from the New Foundations deck and choose which rules of the game they wish to change. They might shatter the Grand Scepter, removing the concept of citizenship, or allow exiles to maintain rule over their sites from game to game. I'm obsessed with this. They can also alter the nature of the game's victory conditions. Yeah, so you want to do it with people who know the game so that you can screw with the rules of the game. Solo by Ricky Royale and Liz Davison, both huge solo players. New to Oath, yeah, if you need a refresher on Oath that remembered how it was played, this is kind of the concept that Trudvang, I was hoping I would get from Trudvang as well, that the board just changes. You know, I think that's a really, really cool concept, is that the board changes. I think it requires a level of investment and sort of increases the barrier to entry. But I think like this concept feels so cool. But I think with all the praise for Oath, you should also look up people who hate it as well, because they're obviously not going to show you that on the campaign page. And I think this one could go either way. Yeah, Oath is something that I should look into. Do you have a rulebook for base Oath? If you do on the page, I'll look at it. If you don't, well, I can't. I'm legally not allowed. Let's see what the shipping is going to be for all the new stuff. The all-in is $200, $273. it just says all the new stuff. So I'm going to use that as hopefully all the new stuff, $30. So 130 bucks. So for, oh no, sorry, 230 bucks. Probably a little bit more, 240. So probably $300 for me to get this game. But I could probably get it at retail still. Yeah, 121 Canadian. All right. So still pretty expensive. Or at least comparable. You know, 100 plus conversions. A bit cheaper at retail, I think, than getting it in this all-in. It's 109. But you probably get some deluxe stuff from the first one. Yeah, this... I mean, I think I'm a bit obsessed with Cole, and so it makes me want to play Oath and try it out. Root, I think, is good, but I have not explored in the way that it could be explored. John Company, I severely disliked, so this could always go that way as well, but who knows? I do know that you shouldn't jump into this all-in. I think this all-in is a very bad choice. Unless you've played a friend's copy of Oath and really like it, in which case then sure, you know what you're getting yourself into. But I feel like even the video is telling you this, don't get the expansion stuff until you have explored the main game. Like, the main game is enough. It's literally telling you that the main game is enough, and that's what's making me want to get the main game and explore and like delve into this world, into a world that I kind of missed at the time. But don't get the expansion stuff right away. You won't incorporate it. You will not incorporate it. All these backers are mostly fools, I would say. But they're supporting Leader Games, so you're not that foolish, because that's a nice company. That finishes Tuesday, June 18th at 2 p.m. That's it. That is it for the week. Now, every week, I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I think is the best, and the pick for you being the thing I think if you get, you have the highest chance of enjoying. And this is, I mean, it's a busy week. We're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do that after the pick for me and the pick for you. There are a lot of solid games happening, but I will stand by that the pick for me should be How to Save a World. And you know what? It's the pick for you as well. I'll give you an additional pick for you. Don't you worry. Let me put the fear of FOMO in you. I am not sure if this game will make it to retail. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It hasn't done as well as all the other stuff. Is this speculation? Yes. And I think it would be a massive shame for this game to not get widespread popularity. I think it is very good. I think it is slick. I think it is intense. I think it has just the right, nice loveliness of complexity. And I think if you like games where you can chain a lot of things together with these variable end game scoring conditions, I think it is absolutely worth your time and energy and money. That being said, the other pick for you is Werewolf in the Dark, because I think it looks just silly and incredible and unique and very funny. But also, if you're in Canada, you're spending like $60 on this, and you could also spend $60 on the standard version of this. $60 US, right? And I would much rather pick How to Save a World. Like, much, much rather. I'm so stoked to be getting this game, and I haven't clicked a back button faster. Well, maybe for Ankh, and that let me down. But I think this is a very, very good game. And that's why I'm excited to do... Oh, you know what? And Big Sur gets a little bit of a shout-out. Big Sur Wine Cellar. Sand Art, meh. Skyport, yeah. Oh, right. Somebody wanted me to do this. I did this last time. And yeah, okay, let's go through the lightning round. Meh. Bad. Yeah, okay, good. No. Woohoo! Ugh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean... Woo, yeah. It's just grunting at this point. It's the same one. Yeah. I don't know if that made any sense. But we have a giveaway to attend to. One lucky winner is going to win a copy of How to Save a World, courtesy of Burnt Island Games. This is the one. We're going to our random comment picker. We're going to add comment replies. Sure, why not? Filter duplicate users. Number of winners. Show random names. Solve the sum. 10. Get the YouTube comments. 149 comments. You have a 1 in 149 chance at winning this game, winning a deluxe copy of How to Save the World. You won't be sad like this person. In fact, you'll be very happy. The stipulations for this contest, because I forgot to put in a secret phrase in the middle, and that's never going to happen again. You got this one that was lucky. There wasn't a secret phrase in the middle, but the stipulations were, say what you think is exciting about the game. I want to see that you actually looked into it, was basically what I wanted to do. So, as Judge, Jury, and Executioner, and Judge, Judy, and Executioner, in my night job, if you don't seem excited enough, I'm picking in somebody else. Just kidding. Let's do it right now. We're drawing these. See your names go by. I'm very, very sorry about it. Here we go. Zen for 1, 588. I like the 3 different defense tracks and the movement to the moon and back to take different actions. A little On Mars vibe. I've never played On Mars, but that sounds great. Yeah, I love the 3 different tracks. That's actually one of my favorite parts as well. And you know what one of my favorite parts is? Oh, not showing you any of the results. Well, I said it out loud, so I'm not going to go back and redo it. I'm not going to deprive Zen for 1 of that. This was the person who looked so excited for losing. That joke didn't land. But what did land is a copy of How to Save a World going to you, Zen for 1. I'll get in touch with you. No, I won't. You get in touch with me. Send me an email to roomandboardreviews@gmail.com, and I can get you connected with the good people at Burnt Highland Games, and they can take care of that for you. To everybody else who didn't win, thank you for entering, but now you have no excuse. You can go and back How to Save a World. Or don't. I mean, listen, I also want to emphasize, because I am the buy nothing person, that you don't have to back everything. You really don't. It is up to the company to convince you to purchase the game, right? It is up to the game's fit within your collection for it to fit within your collection. For me, this is absolutely going to fit within my collection. This is something that I'm going to actively reach for, which is a surprising thing, right? Like, that shows me how much I like the game, is that I know I'm going to actively reach for it. But if finances are tight, you don't need it, right? I'm not here to create FOMO for you. I'm here because I want you to get good things. I do think that this is a really good game. I really do. But if it doesn't vibe with you for some reason, that's completely okay, right? I realize I've gotten very excited, and I'm really pushing in a space where you shouldn't be pushed, or at least I try not to push. Like, I'm obviously going to be excited, and I want you to get good things, and I don't want you to get garbage things, right? Like, that's my goal. But I want to make sure that you are spending your money responsibly, as always. And I know the internet is a susceptible, pushy thing. However, it is a good game. So keep that in mind. I think it is a good back. I think it is a good deal. And I think the game is very fun. And obviously, you can't take whatever I say seriously whatsoever, because I know the person who made it. But, oh, I remember, if you do end up backing How to Save a World, if you're waiting to see if you won, and then you do end up backing, please go write in the comments, backing for Designed by Chris George's Neighbor. Because I said flippantly to Helena, in the R&R show, I was like, if I raise like $60,000, if I spend $60,000, can I remove Yuval's name from the box? And can I put backing Designed by Chris George's Neighbor on it? And she said, yeah, you know, if you make, like, I was like, what's the number? I'm like, 60,000, how about that? She's like, if you get 60,000, we can talk. So go write in the comments, only backing so that it's Designed by Chris George's Neighbor. I want to see the comments flooded. I think it will be so funny. Yes, please go and do that. That should have been a requirement for the giveaway. The comment. Oh, that should have been the secret phrase. Dang it. But anyway, if you do go back, go and comment that. And might as well click through Kick Track, because they want to be on the Kick Track honest, and then comment. Oh, those updates, they were bad. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, a good week. Actually, a really nice week. There weren't too many just horrible ones, but again, there are so many games, right? This is episode 141. If you backed one game since you started watching this, you would have 141 games. That's almost the size of my collection. And that means you wouldn't have gone to retail, and you wouldn't have purchased any of like the certified hits. You would have purchased nothing that's on top 100 on Board Game Geek, right? So, you know, back responsibly. But if you back How to Save a World, make sure to go comment Designed by Chris George's Neighbor. That would just be the funniest friggin' thing. Oh. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate you all. I like hanging out with you. It was a good week, and that's where that tangent came from. I hope you have a wonderful day. I won't, because I don't have a catchphrase. But Designed by Chris George's Neighbor would be a good candidate. Come on. I know there's a few of you out there who are gonna back, or who are backing. So just go comment that. Come on. What are you still doing here? Get.